That again. First off, for red team, the Moonshine Moth mix-up, we have Queen Kerwin's Revenge, Galleon with left side Hades Lumberjack, Mark II Heavy Flak, left side Hwacha Heavy Carronade, and a rear flare gun. Their ally, the Bamboozle Moth, a Judgment, post-patch Judgment, Artemis Mercury, another Mark II Heavy Flak, rear Hwacha paired with a Javelin Harpoon, their opponents. The Reborn for Pomelos, Mercury Dual Artemis Mobula, your standard sniper, with left side Hades, right side Gatling Gun. And finally, slow-moving Squid, Hades Lumberjack, Mark II Heavy Flak with a Hwacha Heavy Carronade, and a rear flare gun. So mirrored Galleon builds here with Moonshine Mix-Up Moth. Moonshine Moth Mix-Up opting to bring this new Judgment, which we'll take a look at here. I believe this is the first competitive match featuring the new Split Judgment, which now has 3 guns, 2 light weapons, 1 heavy weapon on the front, and this rear gun slot, which who knows? We'll see if this comes into play here. Javelin also maybe hoping to disrupt some flankers, although given blue team's composition, both sides looking for more a drawn-out sniper brawl, so I'm not sure how much usage that rear side is going to get. As currently, both the Galleons focusing, looks like Queen Kerwin's Revenge focusing the slow-moving Squid, while both blue ships trying to get an angle on the Bamboozle Moth. A little bit of permanent damage. As Bamboozle Moth once again losing their armor. This is going to be a very tough match for Moonshine Moth, because Pomelos are some of the best snipers in the game. Those Skyborn members, long known for their very strong gun mechanics, long-range accuracy, so this is effectively their game. This is the way they want to play, and Moonshine Moth challenging them at Fight Over Fernfeld, one of the most probably divisive maps in the game currently, just because it's seen as kind of a sniper haven. Not a lot of opportunities. This position the blue team has set up here, you can see there's a lot of open air and just not great angles to flank from. So I think in this situation, Moonshine Moth figured that this was their best shot, was to try to outsnipe their opponents, because the map simply doesn't allow them to do anything else. I want to say in the Old Dog SCS, which was, what, 2 weeks ago at this point, we saw Glowwater Thralls playing a very... They got shut out on Fernfeld against Pomelos in a, let's say, disappointing set. Really emphasizing some of the balance concerns that people have brought up regarding Fernfeld. However, currently, Judgment serving to bear the worst of the brunt here at about 30% permahull. Armor is down on the Reborn. Red team, their one heavy flak, look at all those heavy flak shots, as their one advantage that they have here is they do have a little bit more kill power because they have that second flak on the Judgment. And you saw Reborn's armor there was down for a moment, but if those heavy flak shots don't hit, they're not getting their utility out of it. Now, Reborn's armor is down again. Heavy flak shot once again missing as the Reborn sinks down due to the lost balloon. However, they've racked up a little bit of Artemis damage, so Reborn's hurting, and Moonshine Moth Mix-Up is definitely holding their own here. Trying to look at the Judgment. Yes. I was looking at the Mercury placement on the Judgment. That was one of the other changes from the Judgment nerf patch, is they did that left side gun turret has been angled slightly, so you can no longer really put a Mercury there. And it makes it a little bit more difficult to utilize the Mercury at all, but we see them here using it on the right side, so when the Bamboozle Moth is in a sniper position, they're actually shooting at a slight angle, which is making it a little bit difficult for them to approach with their sniper guns in arc. And now Bamboozle Moth armor is down, balloon is low, but they have enough verticality to be able to coast behind this terrain, get a little bit of cover, as Reborn focuses the Queen Kerwin's Revenge. Bamboozle Moth is hurting. This could be it. The balloon is currently down. Armor's very low. If the next shot that hits could finish them off, but no. No follow-up damage here. The Bamboozle Moth able to fully rebuild their armor. Balloon goes down again. Queen Kerwin's Revenge has to put out a little bit more support fire. They finally take out the slow-moving Squid's balloon. And it might be enough to save the Bamboozle Moth as their armor's looking pretty healthy. Slow-moving Squid forced to take cover. And they lose their armor as well. Queen Kerwin's Revenge not quite in position to utilize that heavy flak. I'm taking a look here. Yeah, heavy flak in the rear gun slot on that galleon, so slightly blocked by terrain. Uh-oh. I did it already. Judgment's dead. Mobula moving in, got the rear of the Queen Kerwin's Revenge. Gatling engaged. So the Gatling dual Artemis going to be coming into effect on the red galleon. Slow-moving Squid not going to be in a position to help, but as long as Reborn's able to maintain this position and keep those close-range guns suppressed, they should be able to win this 1v1. But watch, it does squeak out a clip here. Artemis and Mercury go down, but the Gatling is still up, and slow-moving Squid has now rejoined the fight, so this is probably going to be it for the Queen Kerwin's Revenge. Down they go. So 2 points on the board for the Pomelos, but look at these health bars. Both Pomelos ships very heavily damaged. And now it looks like they're pushing into red spawn. So we could see a very fast equalization of the points if red can set up some focus fire. But no, it looks like Moonshine Moth Mixup is going to take the far spawn here on the opposite side of the mountain, which will extend out this little break we will have before the next engagement. And interestingly enough, they're moving directly to terrain. I guess don't want to take the time to turn their guns in open air, bringing two of these tankier, slower ships. Which means they are very far away from the enemy ships. I wonder how this is going to impact gun accuracy on both sides. Because that previous engagement was more of a medium range, about, let's say, 700 to 1,000 meters. And this is more of this is a 2,000 meter engagement that we're looking at here. I'll be curious to see how many of these shots actually hit. As you saw, a lot of these Hades are going wide, the galleon drifting backwards and forwards to dodge those shots. And slow-moving Squid, lumberjack shots do hit, however, from the Queen Kerwin's Revenge, and galleon's going to drift down behind the terrain. Now, another downside of taking this farther position that the Moonshine Moth Mixup have taken is that this is going to run down a lot of timer time here. Already at the 10-minute mark, with only 2 points on the board, and because Pomelos did get the first kill, it means that if Red Team wants to win this, they're going to have to secure at least 3 points for their side. So the longer it takes them to win this fight, because not only do they have to kill both the Pomelos ships, is they have to secure a third kill after that, and that could take a very long time in these more drawn-out matches. So that's a realistic concern here, is the timer running out. And as it stands now, not a lot of damage being done. You see a lot of healthy armor here for both sides. The Mercury shots hitting the Judgment, but nothing too serious. Mercury's definitely going to be the most accurate at this range. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I don't even, there are no Artemis shots. Let's see, they might just barely be in Artemis range. We'll take a look here and see if any of these Artemis shots are hitting. But we're looking at mainly Mercury and some Lumberjack shots as well. Flak, probably not realistic to hit at this range. And that's what the primary problem here for Red in the build that they've brought, is they only have that one Artemis for kill damage. They have the two heavy flaks, and the heavy flaks are going to be very difficult to hit with at 2,000 meters. So you see Red team's actually moving forward, feeling the timer pressure perhaps. And Blue's adjusting their position as well. They want to maintain their defensive cover. Lumberjack shots. Well, moving Squid's balloon does go down. Queen Cobran's Revenge focusing them. Bamboozle Moth moving forward. I think Red Team wants a dual focus on this Galleon. Reborn pushing forward to chase, but realizing that the Judgment has shifted position, so we'll see if they decide to back out. No, instead rising over the terrain, I think, to get spots for their ally. Now, one of the issues here as well is that because Red has decided to bring two slower ships, it's going to be very difficult for them to actually close the distance and bring in more of a brawl style of fight, which is, seeing the health bars for Blue Team, that's what you might think would be the correct call here, is to just rush them down, utilize your high hull armor to stay alive. But the problem is the Lumberjack makes those forward charges very difficult in slower ships, because you're effectively free pickings for them to take out your balloon. And once your balloon is down, can't actually do any damage. So for this reason, they're being forced to actually play behind cover rather than being able to charge their opponents, which I'm sure is maybe a little bit frustrating. As we see now, 7 minutes left. Bamboozle Moth, however, has risen over the mountain here, and they have closed the distance a little bit, focusing the slow-moving Squid, while Reborn goes for the Queen Cobran's Revenge. I think Blue Team trying to execute a dual focus, ignoring the Judgment for the time being. Slow-moving Squid now finally switching to the Judgment. And Bamboozle Moth does have a health advantage, so they can get this armor kill here with the Mercury. Queen Cobran's Revenge is losing the 1v1 versus the Reborn in the background, so Bamboozle Moth needs this kill. Heavy Flak was rebuilt, didn't fire, might have been reloading. Mercury shots going into components. Are they going to be able to take down the armor here? Merc shot. That was Heavy Flak. The primary damage taking out the armor, and then secondary damage killing them. So there they go. First point on the board for Moonshine Moth Mix-Up. As Reborn switches focus, I think they're maybe just going to try to get whatever damage they can. And they do get another armor break, so they're chipping away to Bamboozle Moth's health, but I don't think the Reborn expects to really live for a very long time with this 20% health Mobula. Queen Cobran's Revenge now, watch it coming out. Actually doing about another 20% damage to the Bamboozle Moth, which is pretty good for what is essentially a throwaway ship. As you see flares coming out. Watch it finally finishing them off. Slow-moving squid spawning opposite side of the map, so not planning to reinforce it all. Just want to do whatever damage they can before they respawn. Now, this would be a good opportunity for Red to start rushing in. With Reborn down, you get a good 15 seconds. They have visibility of the galleon, and they're moving back. Are they moving back to the big ship for cover? I don't know if this is the right play. There's so little time left. You know, I don't want to continue to harp on the timer, but the time limit is very relevant in these more drawn-out matches, so I don't think they're going to be able to play cover like this. They just don't have the time. Pomelos are also playing this very defensively, and when both teams are playing defensively, it takes a while for things to happen. Now, Reborn is taking a few shots as they're repositioning here. Slow-moving squid does not have the gun arcs currently. As Reborn's trying to use the cloud for soft cover, but they're still spotted, and now Spot finally going down. Reborn not taking any permanent damage, but that was a little scary. Red team does have those two heavy flaks. And we'll see what happens. Queen Corwin's Revenge currently rotating northward. We might see a flank here from Triple M. If they can, I don't know if they can stay unspotted though is the problem. This map just, there's so much visibility. I think they might be spotted once they're going over this mountain, but it's certainly possible the blue won't even be looking in this direction, so they might be able to stay concealed. Yeah, none of the blue ships are turning. Shifting focus a little bit. Bamboozle Moth is moving in. Queen Kerwin's Revenge is not quite in position just yet, but I think the judgment... Okay, Reborn does spot the galleon. Bamboozle Moth was aggressively pushing forward to try to take the attention away from the north side of the map, hoping that the galleon wouldn't be spotted, but unfortunately they have been, and this might be it. Queen Kerwin's Revenge not in a position to support. Bamboozle Moth needs to be careful here. They're on the wrong side of the terrain. Terrain's going to be blocking lumberjack shots. So Bamboozle Moth is actually rising up, hoping that the galleon can get some lumberjack shots through the cloud. Those are going to be very difficult shots. Well, the Reborn slow-moving squid. Oh, big heavy flak hit, and I think Bamboozle Moth going to be done here. Galleon just too far away to assist, and down the judgment goes. This play from Moonshine Moth Mixup, I think relying a little bit on luck of the galleon not being spotted. But unfortunately, here they are, another dual focus. Artemis going to start. They got a good Watcher barrage on the way in on the slow-moving squid, but now the dual focus begins, and I think this match going to be slipping away from Moonshine Moth Mixup. With this galleon going down, rear flare guns for good measure, and Reborn going for the bump. Bamboozle Moth moving in. That's the 4th point. 1 minute left on the clock. I don't think there's any way Bamboozle Moth can get 2 kills here. Which means Triple M probably going to be moving to the loser's bracket, with the Pomelos moving on to the winners finals. Heavy flak based builds are definitely high volatility. Like the Artemis, the Reborn's dual Artemis is going to be much more consistent than what Red Team is bringing, and I think even a Lumberjack would have given them a little bit more control over their opponent's sniper arcs, especially considering the Mercury Dual Artemis. One of its big weaknesses is when the balloon goes down and it loses its vertical height. Because those guns have such poor upwards arcs, I think Lumberjack probably would have been a better choice for the Judgment. However, they did put up a good fight. Just didn't have enough time to really play the way they wanted, and Pomelos will be moving on.